Hi, friends. I'm Emily Lay, and you're listening to the Simplified Podcast. If you're looking for a quiet place where you can filter out the noise and the hustle, this is it. Every week, I invite you to slow down and join me to explore practical ways to organize and automate the complicated parts of life so you can focus on what truly matters most. Guys, it's one of the most exciting weeks of the year at Simplified because it is launch week. We've got so many awesome new products on our shelves for you, including our 2023 Simplified Planners. These are going to go so fast, so don't wait. Check out all the fresh new Simplified products we made just for you over at emilylay.com. Well, I will tell you what, I sure love this time of year. Besides the temperature starting to dip ever so slightly, I love turning my thoughts back to optimizing routines and making plans for the future, and doing it all with pretty planners and notebooks and pens and paper clips close at hand. It's the little things, you guys. But more than anything, do you know why I love this time of year? Because I get to watch you, my Simplified sisterhood, glow with excitement. I get to see your eyes light up as you figure out a new way to run your day, one that works really well for you and your family. I get to read your DMs that tell me what a difference it's made to use a weekly Simplified planner for keeping all the appointments straight, or why using the wellness workbook has helped you drink more water and move your body with a bit more intention. I love being able to offer a few tools and watch you take them and run with them. I see so many women in the Simplified sisterhood using these products to create strong relationships and realize dreams you had in your heart. The work you give me the opportunity to do is extraordinary and so humbling. Thank you all for letting me do this alongside you. You are amazing. Every time launch week rolls around, Team Simplified and I love assembling our favorite tips and tricks and tools to help you get focused and figure out how to make your new Simplified products work best for you. We've got all kinds of podcast episodes you can go back and check out, like episode 3, Simplify Your Calendar, or episode 25, Planning for the Week Ahead, or even episode 27, Weekly Meal Planning will change your life, and trust me, it absolutely will. But today, I want to go back to the very basics. I want to talk to you about why you might even use a paper planner in the first place, especially in the digital world we find ourselves in. Number one, paper planners enhance your memory and creativity. Many studies report that you remember things better when you write them down, way more than if you typed the same message in a keyboard. And why is that? Well, according to a 2021 study by the University of Tokyo, when you write something longhand, that action triggers the part of your brain involved in learning and memory. When you type something on a keyboard or mobile device, you're not triggering your brain's learning and memory space the way you do when you write with a pencil or a pen. And here is another cool thing. Research suggests that the art of penmanship enhances your creativity and improves your comprehension. I have a friend who worked for a hot minute as a wine blogger. Her editor would ask her to try different bottles of wine, and she'd write about them the way wine people only can. I'm detecting white peaches and freesias on the nose, and it's a light-bodied white with a long finish, that kind of thing. Well, you can imagine that someone who's supposed to try a lot of different wines might have a hard time keeping them all straight. And that was true for her to a point. It's the weirdest thing, she says. When I'm in a restaurant having a glass of wine, I think to myself, oh, that tastes nice, and just sort of move on. Unless the wine is truly extraordinary, I'm not going to remember it. But for every wine I've written about, I swear it's like my brain has created a card catalog entry for that particular wine. Even if it was just above average, I can remember what the bottle looked like, how the wine tastes, what I liked about it, what I didn't. I can even see the handwritten notes I scrawled into the notebook I used to carry around with me when I wrote about wine. It's so weird. But isn't that funny? When it comes to my planner, I can see what she's talking about. I can start the week with a mental checklist of things I need to do and the appointments I have, but unless I write them down, I can't really see them in my head, and I certainly don't remember them either. One reason your brain can see what you've written down in your memory more than seeing what something looks like on a web page is because web pages are built on scrolling. According to that same study by the University of Tokyo, scrolling is something your brain isn't able to capture into its memory bank. But with paper planners, your brain can take a mental snapshot of the data because it's spending much more time there. Pretty cool, right? Number 2, paper planners minimize distractions. The average smartphone user receives 46 push notifications per day. 46! That is a lot of interruptions throughout your day. But you know where push notifications don't appear? Inside your paper planner. This comes so handy when you're sitting down for an intensive planning session. Mine is usually at the beginning of the week on Sundays. If I have my computer open and I'm trying to plan things out, then guess what? I'm going to get an email, or I'm going to get a text, or I'm going to look up a question and get swallowed into the Google rabbit hole. It's just inevitable. And there's something that's really hard for your brain to recover from. There's actually a name for it. It's called context switching. While the term may be new to you, I can assure you that you've experienced the fallout of context switching many, many times. I'm sure you found yourself multitasking more times than you can count. Have you ever thought to yourself, I wish I could do just one thing at a time? I'd be so much better if I didn't have everything coming at me all at one time like a fire hose. Do you know why you feel that way? Because your brain isn't made to do multiple things at one time. It's not supposed to be switching between tasks every few minutes. And you know what's funny? We actually had to learn this lesson from computers before we even figured it out for humans. When computer scientists were developing computers back in the 70s and 80s, they noticed that asking the computer to switch what it was doing, going from one kind of task to another, really burdened the computer's CPU. It slowed down exponentially. These computer scientists found if you asked the computer to do the same task over and over and over again, it was fine. But as soon as you asked it to do a completely different task, it slowed down. The same concept holds true for you, too. So let's apply this to your work life. Say you work in an office. You've got tons of different tasks you're supposed to do in one day. Fielding emails, working on projects, going on Zoom calls, chatting on Slack, mentoring junior staff, checking someone's work, generating your own work. It's a lot. But did you know that the average office worker is switching tasks every 6 minutes? 6 minutes. That is a lot for your brain to process. And the thing is, when you do switch to another task, it's hard to get going in a real way on the new task because your brain is still processing the old task you've just abandoned. Scientists call that attention residue. Do you feel fried at the end of the day? I know I do. That's probably why you've had to wade through a lot of attention residue. I know paper planners aren't the silver bullet to conquering context switching, but they sure can help. For instance, if you have a daily simplified planner, write down a schedule you think you can keep hour by hour throughout your day and try sticking with it. You may have to keep switching gears at some point, but life happens. Try and see if you can really be present with the task at hand. If your job allows it, try to check email a little less. Maybe a few times a day instead of just having it open all the time with notifications popping in. Give it a shot and see what happens. And now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Sometimes when we're dealing with a problem, it can be tough to try to find a solution when the problem seems so big. As a leader of a small business, I try to be a problem solver. But sometimes it's tough to get into that mode, especially when I can't see the way forward. A therapist can help you become a better problem solver, making it easier to accomplish your goals, no matter how big or small. I've been meeting with a therapist for a few years now, and it's one of the best decisions I've ever made for myself. She's helped me realize that I don't have to be perfect to solve my problems, and it's not my job to solve everything alone either. That's helped me let go of so much stress and find so much peace. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, accessible, affordable, and entirely online. You can get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey and switch therapists at any time. When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/simplified today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/simplified.
Do you know how much your subscriptions really cost? Most Americans think they spend around $80 a month on subscriptions, but the actual total is closer to $200. Can you believe that? Guys, think about all the extra cash you could put back in your pocket if you canceled the subscriptions you don't use. I use an app that cancels subscriptions and saves me money in a snap, and it's called Rocket Money. You've heard me talk about this app before because it used to be called Truebill. Rocket Money is super cool because they show you all of your subscriptions in one place. Rocket Money can even find subscriptions you didn't know you were paying for, or even find out you've been double charged for a subscription. So if you look at your list and decide to cancel a subscription, all you have to do is press cancel, and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. It could not be easier. So cancel unnecessary subscriptions with Rocket Money today. Go to rocketmoney.com/simplified. Seriously, it could save you hundreds per year. That's rocketmoney.com/simplified. This time of year, I always fall into a dinner rut. I make the same 4 or 5 meals during the week because they're quick and easy and marginally healthy. So when I need something new that my family will love without chopping a zillion ingredients on a Tuesday night, I turn to Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well, with dinners that work for you, not the other way around. Every week, you can choose from 24 meals to make for your family. And you even have the option to mix and match meals for different dietary preferences. So you could order a keto meal for one day, and if you need a few more veggies, get a vegan meal for the next day. Plus, Green Chef sends you pre-made and pre-measured sauces, dressings, and spices, so you can add more flavor in less time. And let me tell you, Green Chef has some fantastic new recipes for fall. We love the pecan-crusted salmon with creamy kale and roasted carrots, but I think our favorite was the beef tenderloin with garlic mashed potatoes, pot roast style gravy, and green beans. Because you can't argue with good gravy, right? So switch it up this fall and save time in the kitchen while you do it. Go to greenchef.com/simplified135 and use code simplified135 to get $135 off across 5 boxes. And your first box ships free. One more time, go to greenchef.com/simplified135 and get $135 off across 5 boxes. Plus free shipping on your first box with code simplified135. Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well.
Number 3, paper planners give you a way to personalize the info you record and give you a record only you can control. Do you write things down in your own shorthand? Do you have a special way to mark the priorities that have to get done today, or a way to mark birthdays or special days? There is a reason why you remember those things as well as you do. It's because you've personalized your planning system. That kind of personalization is food for the memory part of your brain and not easily replicated by a digital planning system. For my fellow type A control freaks out there, I know this is something you'll identify with as deeply as I do. I do day-to-day planning in my daily simplified planner, and I do meal planning in a weekly simplified planner. For my family, I've been known to put one of our weekly dry erase magnets on the fridge and write out the dinners planned for the week ahead, just so everybody knows what's on the menu this week, and to minimize the "Mom, what's for dinner?" question I tend to get if the menu isn't up. And here's the thing. I live in a house with 4 other people and 1 puppy. The odds are that someone, even if it's an accident, might erase what's on the fridge. How? Who knows? Murphy's Law says if I don't want it to get erased, then it probably will get erased. Except, guess what? That menu doesn't just live on the dry erase magnet. It also lives in my simplified weekly planner, aka the planner that only I have access to. Have you ever had a meeting or an appointment magically disappear from your online calendar, but you weren't quite sure why? Me too. Do you know what doesn't just disappear from your paper calendar? Anything you didn't erase yourself with an actual eraser. Just saying. Number 4, a paper planner helps you establish boundaries between work and life. Nothing forces you to be in the present more than using analog tools. Here's what I mean by that. When you were little, did you ever watch the way your parents handled work? If your parents worked in a place outside the home, which was honestly just about everybody's parents in the 80s and 90s, how often did you see them bring work home? Probably not very much. In some ways, a lot of ways, work was a little more cut and dried back then because by the sheer physical nature of it, it had to be. There were huge barriers between life and work. Work happened at the workplace, home happened at home. The only time your parents talked to someone from work while they were at home is if the phone rang or if that person physically stopped by. Now, life and work can happen just about anywhere together. Having the option to work out of my home is wonderful, but sometimes I just need a little physical separation from work, just a little. Having a paper planner does that for me because guess what? If I leave my planner at home while we decide to go out to dinner as a family, that means I can't do meaningful work while I'm away from the desk, and that is good. When you're carrying your to-do list around with you, it goes with you wherever you go. But sometimes you just need a break. Leaving your planner at your desk while you enjoy your well-earned rest is a good idea. There you have it, you guys. 4 reasons why paper planners can improve your life at work and home. Now, if somebody asks you why you carry around a paper planner, you'll have a few good reasons to tell them besides, because that's my business, as Tabitha Brown has taught us to say. Can you think of some ways using a paper planner has improved your life at work or home? A rising tide lifts all boats, so we want to know how it's helped you. Leave me a comment on the Instagram post for this episode because I am curious to see how you're using and loving your planner. We get so many great ideas from this community, so give us all your inside tips over on Instagram at Emily Lay. As we close out this episode, I would like to say a blessing for you as we leave this time together and get back to our days. As you plan the days ahead, I hope you build in time to do good work and also to experience joy and love in abundance. As you shepherd your people, I hope you give grace in abundance and remember that you're each trying your best. And above all, I hope you keep your eyes open for the unexpected people and blessings placed in your path. As always, I like to leave a little tip to help you put what we talked about today into practice, so here is your task for this week. We've talked about how paper planners help your brain, and if you've never tried it for yourself, now's the perfect time to get started. You can grab your Simplified Planner, but you don't need one to get the benefits of writing things down. Even a regular notebook will do. On one side, label the hours in the day. I usually go from like 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Plug in all the appointments you have in your day, then on the other side, write out your to-do list. If you want to take it a step further, you could pencil your to-do list items into all the hours in the day so you can see what you can actually get done today. I challenge you to do this every day for a week and see how you feel by the end of it. Were you able to get more done? Or better yet, how did your brain feel at the end of the week? Did you feel calmer and more relaxed? I bet you probably did. That's the beauty of a paper planner life. Thank you for listening to the Simplified Podcast. I hope today's episode brought you a little more calm and confidence as you set out to plan a life you love. You can find show notes for this episode at emilylay.com/podcast, where you can check out links and resources I mentioned here, and you can shop the Simplified brand of planners and products. And there are so many great products for you to check out. Before you go, I have a favor to ask. If you love this show, would you go to your podcast provider and leave a review? I want more people reaching for a life that's a bit more slow and sweet and good, and leaving a review helps your podcast provider get this show to more people who will enjoy it. If you've left a review, thank you. Please know I have read your words and taken them to heart. Till next time, thanks for listening. Bye.